Hello, I'm Dr. Al Bailey, and I am excited again to share a spiritual vitamin with you. Again, if these messages are blessing you, make sure you share them with someone else. Click the subscribe button and click that little bell that gets your notification every time we post something. Last week, we were in Daniel chapter 2, and we were talking about how Daniel was revealing the dream to Nebuchadnezzar. This week, we're going into Daniel chapter 3. We'll be in Proverbs 14 and Hearts on Fire, chapter 12, talking about the title, Be Weak. Last week, we learned how to be strong in God and putting on the full armor of God. I think I'm going to do a special YouTube version on just the full armor of God. But this week, we're going to learn not how to be strong, but how to be weak and be weak on fire. The author says that sometimes Fred Hartley III says sometimes we always want to present ourselves as strong, and not just physical strength, but emotional strength. When we're going through a stressful time, when we're going through emotional anxiety, we often say to ourselves, oh, I can handle this. I can do this. I can handle this. I don't have to tell anybody about it. But Hartley says that we have to make sure that in those moments, we're not trying to hide the fact that we're going through something, because a mature person is willing to expose their weakness, not only to individuals, but most importantly, to God. Yes, Hartley says we don't have to hide our weakness from God, because guess what? God already knows our weakness. He knows what you're going through. He knows what you're dealing with. And he says, I know when you're weak, and I especially, and this is the line that got me, I know especially when you're weak in your prayer life. You see, I thought at one time, even as a minister, I thought that I had a strong prayer life until I got this tug on my jacket during the pandemic. It was Minister Darlene Gilbert, the head of our intercessory prayer ministry, saying, Pastor has called us all to prayer, and I want you to join the prayer call. Now, of course, I was busy in the pandemic making sure people had access to food and making sure that they could get the basic necessities of life. I thought my prayer life was strong, and I thought I didn't need to be on the prayer call. But once I got on that prayer call, I learned just how weak my prayer life was. And I had to be mature enough to share with the persons on the prayer call, and most importantly, to share it with God, that I was weak in my prayer life. It wasn't until then I learned that we were reading this book called Prayer when I got on the prayer call by Michael E.B. Maher. This book taught me why it's important to pray. This book taught me how to pray as Jesus prayed, as he prayed, because when Jesus prayed, his prayers got answered. This book taught me how to pray in the Spirit, and I think I'm going to do a teaching just on this book about prayer, so that your prayer life can get strengthened just like mine. But I had to be willing to be exposed, to expose the weakness that I had within myself as it relates to prayer. I had to be willing to expose that to God so that I could begin to learn how to properly pray, to learn why it's important to pray, to learn how to pray as Jesus prayed. I had learned the ACTS acronym. Adoration, confession, thanksgiving, and supplication. I knew that. But this book taught me more, and it took me deeper into prayer, because there's levels to this. And as we go into Daniel chapter 3, we understand that Nebuchadnezzar just hasn't gotten to that level where he fully understands what's going on. Daniel has explained the dream to him. And Daniel has taken a position in the king's court, making sure he's continually talking to Nebuchadnezzar, but Nebuchadnezzar just doesn't get it. Because now he has taken the opportunity to build a 90-foot statue, golden statue. And he didn't build it by himself. He made persons build that 90-foot statue, 90 feet tall, 9 feet wide. And he gave the message, sent the message to all of his officers, all of his officials, all of his treasurers, all of his judges, all of the governors, everybody who had a title and position, that when they hear the music, They are all to bow and worship him. And here's the funny thing. Scholars actually said, and this is the part that really got me. Scholars say that he did this as a strategy to unite the country in wisdom. I'm sorry, to unite the country so that they could be, how does it say in my notes, how they could centralize worship. He wanted to centralize the community in worship. He wanted them to be on one accord. He had good intentions, but he did this all because he wanted to solidify his own power. Good intentions. But when you are not willing to be made weak, your good intentions can quickly turn. And he did all of this. He wanted to centralize worship. He wanted to make sure that he strategized to bring the nation and make them on one accord. But he did it all to solidify his own power. No, Nebuchadnezzar. You should be trying to centralize worship so that your country, Babylon could be able to worship and praise the one and true living God. He wanted to do all of this, but he was doing it all for the wrong reasons because he wasn't willing to be weak. And what would it have been like, my brothers and sisters, if Nebuchadnezzar would have said to Daniel, Daniel, I fully don't understand this. And he went to Daniel and said, I want to have a strategy to centralize worship all throughout the land. I want to be able to bring the nation on one accord so we can all worship the God of your salvation. The God who is God, the God who sits high, the God of heaven and earth. If he would have been weak in that moment, he could have turned Babylon all around and did it for God. But he refused. He wanted to show his strength. And because he wanted to show his strength, he said, if anybody doesn't bow down to worship this statue who represents him, King Nebuchadnezzar, then they will be thrown in the fiery furnace. Now, this was going to affect not just the officials throughout Babylon, but it was going to affect Daniel because he was made ruler over all the province of Babylon. It was going to affect Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. These are all now persons who are in new positions. And let me tell you something, just because you get a new position, my brothers and sisters, just because you get a new job doesn't mean it excuses you from the trials and tribulations that come along with the new position. You know the old saying, new levels, new devils, new heights, new fights. So know that you're going to have these things to come at you as God elevates you. But when you are elevated and these things come your way, you have to be willing to say to God, God, I'm going to be weak right now. I'm going to be weak. I'm going to tell you that I need you, Lord. I need you, God. You'll be willing to tell other persons who you know the work and the wealth of prayer. I need you praying for me. It's getting rough out here on my job. I know I got an elevation. I know I got a new position, but I need somebody praying for me. That's you being weak. You exposing yourself to God and saying, God, I need your help in this. That's you being weak. We have to be able to show persons how they can be weak. And as they are weak, God will help to build them and make them strong. In Proverbs 14, there's 6 verses in Proverbs. I'm just going to go over 2 of those 6 verses. And you, my brothers and sisters, your home assignment is to find your verse somewhere in those first 6 verses of Proverbs 14. Find the verse where you can be weak, or you can share with someone how they can be weak. I'm going over verse 1. That's one that I like. It says, a wise woman takes time to build her house. A wise woman takes the time to nurture her children. It takes work, and she works to nurture her children. But it also says a foolish woman tears it all down. A wise woman takes time to support her husband. A wise woman takes time to get in her house all the things that she needs because she knows that one day she may be weak. And when she is weak, that's when she can rely on her children and her husband and God to fully take care of her. While a foolish woman says, oh, I can do all of this by myself. I don't need your help. I don't need the help of a man. I don't need the help of the children. I don't need the help of God. I can do this all by myself. That's a foolish woman, and she will tear it all down. The last verse in verse 4, it says, a stable stays clean without oxen in it. If you are working on a farm and you want a big harvest and have a plentiful harvest, the stable will stay clean because you don't have any oxen in it. But guess what? Without oxen, you're not going to have a big harvest either. Because if you want a big harvest, enough food to feed you and your family and even your community, a big harvest, you need some oxen. But guess what? Oxen make mess. Yes. And that mess has to be cleaned up. And my brothers and sisters, in our lives, we are going to have some mess because we want the big harvest. But we must be willing to expose our mess to the one and true God who can help us clean up our mess. This is the message, my brothers and sisters, we have to share with persons this week. Be willing to be weak so that God can make you strong. Be willing to expose yourself to other persons like I did on the prayer call so that God can work to make you strong. Share this message with someone who you know is struggling and watch how God works with them as you share with them that in their weakness, God can make them strong. We have to be able to say like Donnie McClurkin in the song, I Need You. God, I need you. I failed, God. I've come short. I fall short. We have to be willing to tell God, you know the end from the start, God. You have to be willing to tell God in your weak moments, I need you, God. Oh, God, I need you. I need you, Lord. This is our message this week, because in your weakness, God is going to make you strong. This is our message this week. We're going to learn how to be weak. Because guess what? When we cry, he's going to hear us. Yes. When we call his name, he's going to be right there. In our weakness, God is going to make us strong. God bless you.